Well, we've been meaning to get out here to the MVR for their big addition for the bocce courts, and Joe has been nice enough to let us come by. Thank you.
Well, it's the off season, so it's perfect time.
Oh, so I'm allowed to come.
Right. Well, you're always welcome.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, sometimes right now, if you were here during the season, balls would be flying, people would be passing beers.
Right.
You would probably be asked to partake. And I don't know if you can do that live, but if you can, it'd be great.
I partake.
All right, good.
Partake.
Good.
This is jaw-dropping, isn't it?
Came out really good. Really exceeded our expectations. We're thrilled with what has happened here.
Let's talk about some of the particulars. When did you think we need a bigger space and a better space?
Well, what happens is for years, and this goes all the way back to my dad being here and what he did for the bocce in the area and these courts, and we would always talk about, do we ever want to enclose but also have the ability, have the garage doors, the fans, make it feel like summer's summer, but we have the ability to close it down for winter. And our fear then was that we didn't want our summer teams, which is such a great time, and such a great time for us, to turn into something that they didn't want to be a part of because it was like, oh, I don't want to do this, it's too much, I do it year round. Well, so many of our teams now compete in the mecca of bocce, which is Youngstown, Ohio, everywhere, that we said, you know what, we're going to do it. And we really felt that it wasn't just about for our existing teams. We thought, and I thought, that there was a large group of people not realizing they could do this, and that's exactly what happened. Last winter was our first winter bocce league, and we had several, and I'm talking in the 20s, brand new bocce teams that joined us.
I heard this is over $1 million. Is that true?
It was a massive undertaking. It's a scary undertaking. It's something that I'm thankful to be able to say we did, but that we're going to be paying for quite some time, and we can't do it without the great support of the Valley, and hopefully if we keep that going, and that's, it's a massive number, but I felt good doing it, knowing that we have such a great group that is involved with us here. We have so many great friends. The patrons of the MVR have been coming for decades, and yet we know so many are just coming for the first time. If we can continue the ones that have been coming and get the new ones, then we'll be just fine.
Tell me about the surface a little bit, because when you see it, you're like, whoa.
Well, so a little known fact about most of the bocce courts that started in the 80s around here, like ours did, was they were made up of an agricultural slag that came from the coke ovens, from the steel mills.
Okay.
With those mills not producing that slag, it was getting harder and harder, and we were all finding different ways to top coat, and it really wasn't going the way we wanted. So we have a great friend of ours. His name is Lefty Donahue. He has been a guy that I couldn't have done any of this without, and he has been working with me to try finding this type of surface, and we basically found it, and it's called hard true. It's a clay.
Oh yeah, it's like the U.S. Open tennis courts.
Exactly. But the way we were able to do this is it with having the roof over it. Even though there's a ton of maintenance involved, the roof is what makes the difference. You have to have a roof. I know they don't in theory for the opens and things like that, but they also have guys that they pay lots of money to cover that and make sure it doesn't get wet the wrong way.
What's been the response?
It's been fantastic. It really has.
I mean, these are guys that know bocce.
And there's a lot of guys that know bocce, and especially when we have tournaments, those guys play on some of the best courts around the country. And so, look, the hardest part for our courts is there's very few courts around that get as much use as our courts. Between our mixed doubles league, between our men's league, between the fact that we use it during the summer, now we're using it during the winter. So there is still a lot of maintenance that goes into it, and that's what makes it tricky sometimes, but it's been great. It's been so great to find a court that is exactly what we want.
Last question. When's the next league start if I wanted to get a team together?
So we are running out of space, so you better move quick. Okay. We start the first week of November.
Okay.
So essentially Tuesday, October 28th is when that league will start. Everyone has been contacted that played last year. They're ready to go. We have several new teams in the mix. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, congrats on all your success.
Awesome. We really appreciate it.
Really cool. Give it a roll here
Thank
at
you.
MVR downtown.